How's it going, everybody? Welcome, nerds and turds. It's your boy, Sassmaster 9000. Back at you again with some more HomePod repairs. Looks like we've got a fairly standard assortment of issues here today. We're going to start off with James's HomePod that's got no power. Then we're going to go to Edgar and then Dean's HomePods, also with no power. And then we'll wrap up today with some death farts from Travis. So, based on the frequency and most common cause of the no power issue, we're probably going to end up seeing the same thing, but 3 of them in a row, maybe we'll see something a little different here. Okay. Let's go ahead and, well, first of all, let's get our other camera working here. And we'll give that a quick fix. Deactivate, refresh, activate. Booyah. Alright, and then last but not least, let's get some beverage in us. Whoa! Excuse me. Okay, let's open up James's HomePod here. There we go. Come here. Ooh, well done. Well done, sir. Let's get all this out of the way. And get our pod. Alright. So, James tells us that their HomePod here has no power symptoms. So that pretty much just means you plug it into power and you tap the top of it, you ask it, you talk to it, you check the home app. Nothing seems to respond on it. So, we're going to double check their symptoms here with our power cable plugged into the wall with a kilowatt meter in the middle there. So that'll tell us exactly how much power is being drawn by the HomePod from the wall. And we can usually get some good hints based on the power draw what's causing their no power issue. So if it's not pulling any power at all from the wall, then most likely the fuse in the power supply has blown, which isn't allowing any circuit at all to be completed. A low to medium power draw, like let's say like 1 to 3 watts of power, is most likely a short on the logic board towards the top here. Usually there's like a tiny little capacitor that likes to short out. Different ones in most cases. Doesn't seem to be any specific one in the logic board. Anyways, and then you've got medium to higher power draws, which is like 3, 4, up to 6 or 7 watts. That is going to be the most common that you'll see with no power HomePods, and that's usually caused by a shorted Schottky barrier diode on the amplifier board. And that's usually what you end up seeing here on the channel here with our no power repairs. So let's plug it into power now that we've gotten that little bit of information out of the way there. And we've got about 6 watts being pulled at the wall. So based on that, we can all take our guesses as to what it is that's failed inside of here. Let's crack it open and see what's going on. The HomePod Mini will light up orange when it's not receiving enough power, yeah. I've never seen an OG HomePod light up orange, only the minis. Are you saying you saw an OG HomePod light up like that? Yours did it. Fascinating. I would like to see that on video. It's not that I don't believe you. I've seen these things do some weird colors before myself. But I'm trying to figure out how it would give you an orange light indicating it's low on power if the power supply is internal. That wouldn't be a useful thing for it to tell you. It works between 110 volts and like 220, 240 volts or something like that. And it would either power on or not at all. So, yesterday you guys saw us start up our stream by unboxing this electric screwdriver that Jim so kindly sent us. And I spent some time with it and got myself pretty familiar with it. And I think this one is going to be the one for working on HomePods. And the reason is, so you've pretty much got 5 different torque settings, right? The lowest torque setting seems to be safe enough to not snap or break any screws in here. But it's also still strong enough to take any of them out. It's also got a really nice and tight manual mode. You don't have to turn it off to put it in manual mode. It just does it all by itself. Pretty typical of electric screwdrivers. But what I really like about this one is it's got an automatic mode. And basically all you do is you push the button to turn it on, and whichever direction you start twisting the screwdriver is going to be the direction that it spins it. I think that is just absolutely insane. And based on how much you twist it one direction or the other, it'll make it go faster or slower. And once you get used to this, it's got some pretty fine controls. So long as you've got some decent hand motor control skills, then you can really take advantage of the variable speed on this. So we're going to give it a shot here, taking this one apart. I've already tried it on some screws earlier. Like that is incredibly fast too. I think that's faster than I could get them. So I am very happy with this thing. And just, well, I guess I should say, Jim sent this to us. Jim doesn't work for them, as far as I know. And I'm not being sponsored by anybody to say any of this. This is just something that Jim gifted to us. It's the Miniware E-Design. Let me grab the box for you. Yeah, the ES15 motion control. This is awesome. It goes both slow enough and incredibly fast at the same time. So that is the slowest setting it'll go. Let's see if we can show you guys. So that's as slow as it'll go right there. And it zips. Well, enough talking about the screwdriver. Let's take these HomePod apart. Interesting. I'll see if I can reproduce that myself. I've got some parts sitting around that it doesn't matter if they break. doing stuff like that to them. We'll give it a shot. Ah, this is awesome. This is it. And if it's still too tight, you can just will take me a little bit of time to get used to it, but certainly faster. Where is my metal pick? Let's expose those screws for the basket here. Alright, here's the real test. Will this thing have the torque necessary to take these out? Oh yeah! Incredible. Wow. And that's just so much faster than I could do it too. Gonna need to find a way to keep that bit in there a little better. Let's just stick to our screws here. Amazing. I made quick work of those. Ooh. There we go. All right, time for the pry. Oh, coming up easy. Like a dream. Look at that. Easy peasy. All right. Probably make quick work of these screws here. Oh yeah. Subwoofer check. Voice coil looks good in there. Feels nice and smooth. And it smells great. So that is a happy subwoofer. Oh, one more. Okay. Power supply. Oh dear. Get that ribbon cable out of the way. And let's see how well this can hit all the amp screws. Huh. Oh, alright. A little tight for that bad boy. And we are free. That's a good point. Why can't they let us do that with the original HomePod? Okay, so here we've got our primary suspect here, our 60 volt 5 amp Schottky barrier diode. We're putting our multimeter here into continuity test mode so that it beeps at us when we detect continuity, or in this case a short. And yes sirree, that diode is dead flat short. So let's get it replaced with another one, and we'll see if this amplifier turns on. Hey, welcome to the chat. Thanks for dropping by. You're fixing 2 right now. Oh, it's my pleasure. As soon as I saw that there wasn't much info out there, I was like, I gotta change that. That was a big motivator. Like being on the frontier of discovering new information and repairs for these things. Everyone was like, oh, you can't fix them. Oh, yes, you can. Oh, yes, you can. So, we've got another diode here that I've already got solder and some flux on. We're just gonna flux our board back up. I prepped a few diodes before our stream here to make it hopefully a little quicker on us. And here we go. We just heat it up till it melts. The flow of solder is going to basically pull that diode exactly where we need it to go. And if we check again with our multimeter, we will see no more short. It might chirp at you for a brief split second there when you go to test. But just keep them firmly connected there. And verify you no longer have a short. If you've got a short right here on this diode, at least every single time we've been doing these repairs, it's going to be that diode. But it's always good to double check, because you never know what you're going to find. Especially when you get nice and comfy with your process, and you think your process works every time. And then you come up with something that's a little different, and you're like, uh-oh. Alright. Let's get some parts thrown on here and see if it turns on. And here's our ribbon cable for our logic board. That didn't feel very great going in. We'll try that again. There we go. We'll grab a logic board, power connector, subwoofer, because we're going to test this for DC offset if it powers on. 2 different issues, 2 different causes. Every HomePod that comes in will get checked for it, because you never know how much you got until you actually check. You might have some early signs of those capacitors really starting to let go, and if you've already got it apart, you might as well check it, right? So here we've got our power. It's plugged in, and booyah. Alright, what do we got? Oh. Less than a millivolt. Looks like it's hanging around between 1 to 2 millivolts and 0 millivolts. So that is perfectly acceptable. We got the amp powering on, and we don't see any negligible, or we don't see any significant amount of DC offset being generated by the amp, so this one looks ready for reassembly. Let's just take these test parts off so we can put it all back together inside of the shell. All right. Start by dropping our amplifier in. And we'll put the 14 screws holding that in place. I've been buying the software bricked HomePods if they ever pop up for a good deal, just in case we ever find a fix for it in the future, right? Like, because as soon as there's a way to fix it, they're gonna probably go back up in value. Especially if it's something as easy as just peeling the rubber foot off the bottom, sticking a few pogo pins onto it, and click and restore on your computer. Or heck, if just for anything, they've got plenty of other good parts in them. And then, one day, if your logic board ever breaks itself in one of your HomePods and we do find a way to fix it, and you've got another one on the shelf ready to go. Somewhere in Tim Cook's house there's a restore image. Give it up. Give it up, Tim Cook. I wonder if he actually has HomePods and if he still uses them. And like, as soon as his started popping, he was like, we need to discontinue these now. Motherland! Let's reconnect that ribbon cable down there. Doink. Drop in the power supply. Screw that in place. Wasn't the guy that jailbroke the original HomePod, didn't he write like a custom app for the lights on the top to make them dance around or something? I can't remember. Alright, let's turn that torque setting back down to 1. See how well this handles it. Uh-huh. I see. Let's try this. Oh, I love it. Now if we can get that bit to stay in the screwdriver. Now, do those need to be any tighter? Oh man, that's perfect. Oh, I love it. Okay, so if you get your own one of these, the torque setting of 2 is perfect for these screws here. You're going to need to crank it all the way up to 5 to take most of the screws out, but when you're tightening back up, there you go. This little electric screwdriver rips, my guy. I'm speechless almost, like exactly like you said. After using this for so long and then jump into this thing just zips through 'em, man. I am thoroughly impressed. Perfect for these screws too. They don't squish the gasket here for the subwoofer too much. It's exactly how much I would put it in there. Oh man. The next question will be, how long does the battery last working on these things? We'll see if it makes it through all 1, 2, 3, 4 repairs today. And I just want to double check the tightness of those here. Again, pretty much right where I would put them. Incredible. Let's get the basket on here. Yep, I knew it was going to do that. That's okay. Stick it in the corner first where it doesn't want to stick down, and there we go. Excellent. Let's put these in next. We'll see if the same torque setting works for these or if we need to turn it up at all. Alright, so let's crank it up to 3. 4. 4 looks to be about right. Maybe we need to put it up to 5, but let's find out on this next one. Nah, that's perfect. 4 is perfect for these. again, quick work. Amazing. And it's not too much torque that it's ripping out of my hands. And I'm not worried about it breaking any plastic. Sometimes they get a little tight, so you're going to need to do some manual work. But every twist that you can manually, or every manual twist that you can save with the electric one is one more twist that you've got with that wrist doing something else. Something else in life. Whatever that is that you do with it, I don't need to know. You can keep that to yourself. Don't be hating. I mean, this thing is spoiling me. I don't have, like, any nice fancy tools like this. This is... You're spot on. It's fascinating me. Okay. Let's tighten up that mesh. Where did this come from? How long does my hand look like that? Did that come from this guy? There are a million screws in my HomePod. I counted them. In a HomePod. That's funny. It feels a little soft right here. It looks like they might have scrubbed a little too hard right here, cleaning it at one point. That's okay. Still looks pretty good. You can't really tell. Can't tell unless you're really actually poking at it. How many HomePods have we repaired so far? So, a few weeks ago, we estimated how many HomePods we've repaired here on the channel. purely based on the number of used and dead diodes that we've kept. So just so you know, every single HomePod that comes in for our repairs is going to get a new diode, whether it's dead or working just fine. We replace it every single time. So we counted a few live streams ago exactly how many used and dead diodes we had. At the time, we estimated we had somewhere between, I think it was like 200 to 230 repairs done. Since then, I think we've had another 25 to 50 come through. So we're probably conservatively estimating around 250 to 275 by now. And that's not counting. We only started keeping all of the diodes for our repairs after, like a month or so after we started doing these repairs. Not sure why I wanted to keep them all, but kind of just felt like I wanted to. And yeah, it really doesn't feel like it looking back, but then you tally it up. You actually count how many diodes I've got, and sure enough, it's insane to really think about how that's a lot of HomePods. That's like, oh man, concerning levels of failure rates. And it's like almost 200 of those were all from the same no power issue. There's only about 1 out of every 10 or so where we actually saw a different sort of failure come in for repair. That is a great question. You're asking the right questions there. How many of these things did Apple actually sell? And how many of them are actually failing? What's the actual failure rate going on here? Because to me, it kind of smells like recall territory. But only Apple knows. And they may never tell us. They probably won't. Unless they get sued. One thing that kind of stuck out to me and actually kind of made me think potentially how many are still out there. When I was working with Apple's Tier 2 support to try to troubleshoot my issue with them suddenly no longer playing music, they mentioned something about large corporations and such, and big businesses that have tens or hundreds of these in a given, in a single building or whatever, or across multiple sites. So it sounds like, based on that, well, first of all, I'm probably not I probably don't have the most number of HomePods on the same Wi-Fi network, so that someone else probably has me beat there. But it's just kind of wild to think that there are businesses out there that have probably dozens of these that they're using, and there's just no way that they're all working perfectly. So Apple's support seemed fairly motivated to try to work with me to identify what issue's going on here, especially if it just happens at random on any of my any of my HomePods. It doesn't matter. We'll just randomly stop playing music for a few minutes and then start playing again. They're not rebooting or anything either. It's a strange issue. But Tier 1 was stumped. Tier 2 was stumped. They opened up an issue in their issue tracker and have been gathering logs. from my use. At this point, it's basically reproduced itself on like 80% of my HomePods within the past day. I'm trying to remove all the adhesive underneath this volume button here because it looks pretty nasty. And I know it's not going to light up nice and evenly when we go to check it after placing it down. I just know it. There we go. HomePod with an M1 silicone or M2 silicone chip. You're insane. That's all there is to it. I got escalated to tier 2 support. They gave me a not a developer pro. They just gave me like a system profile to install to my iPad that allowed them to collect additional diagnostics and told me to reproduce the issue 3 times, write down the time, and let them know. And I reproduced the issue at least 3 times by now. I've had happen a few more times, and I let them know exactly when it's happened. That was 2 days ago now, and I haven't even heard back any confirmation that they got my response. So who knows where that will go? But I won't let them off that easy if they're trying to ignore it. Here's our power cable. Gonna plug that in. Drum roll, please. Ooh yeah, we got power. No, Michael, that'd be pretty insane. You're talking about designing a whole custom PCB and would it be possible though if you got the IPSW that you could solder an M1 on the logic part? No, and that's because the rest of the logic board is built to support the A8 CPU. The A8 system on a chip. It's not built to support the significantly larger, more power hungry, and with more heat generating M1 chips. So there's pretty much no chance that you'd be able to replace the CPU on this with something else, especially an M1. Wishful thinking though. So I told them pretty much, I was like, I have a few dozen of these in my house, and any given one of them will have this issue. It'll happen completely at random. Which is true. I didn't lie to them at any point to get them to help me, but I did make it sound like pretty much that this appears to be a software issue that affects every single one of my HomePods, and if all of my HomePods have the same hardware defect, then they're going to have to think about doing some sort of recall program, because that is just an absolutely absurd failure rate for me to have a 100% failure rate where these things just randomly crap out for a few seconds every day. I think it's more likely a software issue, but who knows? Either way, right? Like, if it's a software issue, then there is hope that they've got the information from me necessary to investigate and fix it. If it's a hardware issue, then I'm willing to work with them and send some of them in so they can identify the issue, and maybe potentially we have some sort of recall program. Like I said, the fact that it happens on any random one, it's never the same one. It's always a different one whenever it happens. So, who knows?
I'm having trouble connecting.
I know who knows. But looks like we got everything working and ready to go on this HomePod. Volume buttons light up nice and even. Siri speaks nice and clearly. So we'll set that to the side. And we will open up repair number 2 here from Edgar. Let's get that text on the screen updated first. Alright. Edgar's HomePod here also has the same issue of no power. So let's find out. Very nicely packed. Well done. And here's our pod. Number 2. All right. Here we've got our power cable. Let's go ahead and check our symptoms. No response. About 4 watts of power draw at the wall. Let's go ahead and take it apart, see what's going on from the inside. There we go. Yeah, nobody's ever sent theirs in for repair while it was still under warranty, let alone brand new. And they'd be kind of foolish to pay for repairs when it is still under warranty or brand new. No, he's got a point. He's got a point. Looks over at my HomePod that I bought brand new from Walmart and never opened. Anyways. Yeah, no, that's I don't think it's possible because all of the diodes that have failed have shown signs of abuse. So it's for it to be broken right out of the box, that would basically mean that it was tested beforehand and broken before they put it in the box. Which would be pretty messed up. Yeah, I'm one of those guys. I'm with you, Michael. As soon as I saw one pop up on Walmart's website, for retail price, not from one of those scalpers, but just for original retail price, and they allowed me to put Apple Care on it too. I was like, So I bought, I think, 2 of them. I bought one just to relive the brand new opening experience, and then I kept another one. It's actually still sealed in its shipping box, but it's got Apple Care too. And I don't know. Maybe I'll keep it like that and then one day sell it and have the money for my kid's college fund or something. Some turbo nerd on YouTube like what's his face? I forget the channel, but he likes to buy like new old stock Apple products and make videos about them. They had to make... Yeah, I would love that. I would just be like, don't even bother putting them back together, just give me the parts, bro. Just have the conveyor belt from the manufacturing plant, dump the parts right off to my doorstep. I'll put it together myself. Thank you. The pride. Coming apart real nice. Very nice. Oh, too nice. Exceptionally nice. Alright, subwoofer. We still have full battery health and we're halfway through our second HomePod here, so that's good to see. Bumper check. Voice coil looks good. Feels nice and smooth. Smells amazing. Oh man. Not sure I've smelled a subwoofer that smelled that good. This feels so slow after getting used to that electric driver now. Wow. Amp is out. Alright, out of beer too. We're gonna need to grab another one. Looks like we're doing drunk HomePod repairs, boys. Quick check on this diode here, make sure it's shorted out. Yes, it is. Let's get it pulled off and replaced with a new one. Oof. Hit you guys right in the head there. I'm sorry. I like the smell of my flux. It smells like maple syrup. Which makes sense. It's maple syrup comes from trees. Flex comes from trees. It's a natural product. Still gives you cancer if you breathe too much of it, so don't do that. Alright, we've got another one of our diodes here already soldered up and ready to go. So let's flux up our amp. Drop this into place. Look at it slide around like that. Weirdo. Alright. Folks, take a quick few-minute break here. Let this board cool down. Grab yourselves a drink, use the restroom. I'll be back in just a minute. And we are back. Oh. Okay, folks. Is that cooled off? Yes, it is. Let's give this board a test. Power supply. Oof, looked like we dropped quite a few packets there just a second ago. Looks like it's stabilizing again. Oh boy. All right. Does it got power? Yeah. Do we got base? We got the base. We got the base and we only got 1 to 2 millivolts. This one's all ready to go. Let's get these parts off. My workbench here could use a bit of an overhaul with some organization. Better way to hold all these tools, I suppose. Or maybe just a larger mat. I think this was the largest one Weller had. I do remember being very particular about looking for a mat. I wanted one with little cubbies here that I could close up for saving screws from other projects. It's got the magnets in it here and there. It's got this big pad here for all of these screws, and then this section for more. And yeah, if I could basically just get this exact mat, just twice as big, that'd be great. Alright, let's throw this back together. Roop-a-doop. Roop-a-doop. Roop-a-doo-doop. Start off with the amplifier and its 14 screws. Oh no! I don't want a pickle. Just want to ride my motorcycle. That's what I think every time I see a motorcycle stick. Is that cross-threaded? Nope. It's just being a pain. Stubborn little screw. There we go. Let's screw that power supply in. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you go in there. Oh, give it up the gas. Yeah, get in there. All right. Time for that top basket. Oof. There we go. Quick work of that. Oh boy, that one's all chewed up. That is okay. That'll still work. Oh yeah, no, I've got a magnetizer, like a purpose-built magnetizer and demagnetizer. I just got to dig it out of my toolbox in the garage and hit these bits with some of that magic juice. Every time I go to, the only time I remember is while I'm in the middle of a stream. Ready to reassemble. Oh boy, I just came up with a great idea for the giveaway stream that I want to do. So I've got, as I said before, I've got about 8 to 10 HomePods that I bought broken just to fix up for myself. And I've been stacking them up and holding on to them until I get a bunch of them. And I think 10 is probably enough for what we want to do for this. But we will probably on a Sunday, since that's usually when we don't have any other HomePods from other people showing up. But we will we'll do like a drinking game of sorts. We'll chug a beer for each HomePod that we can fix, and we'll keep doing it until we can't fix them no more. And then we'll give 2 of them away. We'll give a broken one away for anybody who wants to fix it themselves, and we'll give a repaired one away for anybody who doesn't or can't. We got power. Plug it in. Drum roll, please. Booyah. Edgar's got power. Do we got good sound?
I'm having trouble connecting to the
Yes, we do.
I'm having
Volume buttons light up nice and evenly. So this one is ready to go. I'll stick that back into its little bubble wrap shell here. And take a look at repair number 3 here from Dean. Dean's HomePod also has no power. And then we'll wrap up with Travis's. It's got the farts, the flatulence. Here we go. We've got our power cable. Just gonna plug that in, confirm our symptoms here. No signs of life, and about 6 watts of power being drawn at the wall, so probably the same as the previous 2 no power repairs and most others here. Where is my pry tool? I'm sitting on it. Interesting. Let's crack it open and find out what's going on from inside. Oh boy, you're putting up a fight, eh? Making me sweat. Yeah, give it up. Let's see if that magnetized it at all. Damn. Yes. Oh. for the pry. Oh no. Oh no. This one's putting it up. Putting up a fight. You are no match for me. Cool. Your style is no match for mine. Excuse me. Oh boy. Out you go. Woofer check. Looks good. Feels good. Smells great. Same as the other two, let's get up close and verify that diode's what's deadzo here. Yeah, 1746K. That thing's gonna be dead. Yep. Completely dead. Same thing as the others. Let's get that replaced. You were not paying attention and we bumped that little capacitor there. There we go. Put that back in its place. You stay there. I'll grab a... Is this a new one or one that I prepared? This is a brand new one. I haven't even prepared this one yet. So let's get some flux on there. Oh boy. What do we got? Bring it back. Oh, bullocks. I knew I heard that something drop. All right. Not even on there. Yeah, that's on there pretty well. That ain't going nowhere. Okay. Let's see if this board powers up and if it's got any DC offset to correct. Here we go. Booyah, we got power. Okay. Do we got any of that offset? No. Looks like it's pretty well under control there at about 2 to 3 millivolts of DC. That's in millivolts, so that is perfectly acceptable there. Let's throw this HomePod back together. bullets. We're almost 2 hours into the stream and you're still watching? You're crazy. we got one more after this, too. Oh god, the cats are going. Oh boy! Oh boy! Whoa. Okay, let's see if this thing is all working. Drum roll, please. Booyah. Cats are tweaking out. All right. Speak.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
Very good.
I'm having trouble.
And the volume lights light up nice and evenly. So, Dean's HomePod is all fixed up and ready to rock. Let's set that back into their box. And let's open up our fourth and final repair for today from Travis with Death Farts. Joop, joop. Whoop, whoop. Here we go. Oh, very nice case. Huge fan of these because they've got the little cutout here for the power cable. There we go. Let's set all this to the side. And here's the main event. Let me see if I can get a little better focus on that. Nope, that's what we're gonna have to live with. Okay. So, Travis's HomePod here has death farts. And you may be asking, what is a death fart? So this is what most people call the behavior, or more specifically the sound that some HomePods will end up making. It sounds like a really loud bass drop sound, and then the HomePod will reboot itself unexpectedly shortly after playing that sound. So that's what people call a death fart. And the reason why people call it death farts is it's usually a sign that your HomePod's on its way from completely self-destructing. The reason why it emits that death fart sound and forces a reboot is because of the filtering capacitors on the back of the amplifier typically going bad and allowing too much DC voltage through the amplifier circuit before that amplified audio is sent to your subwoofer. The amplifier will see when that DC offset, in other words, how much or how far off from 0 volts your amplifier is putting out, and it will shit, I lost track of what I was talking about. The chat here just bought a popping farting HomePod. Oh boy. So you should be you can follow along here. This is pretty much exactly what you're going to end up doing or needing to do on your farting and popping HomePod here. As I was saying, the DC filtering capacitors tend to go bad. Over time, they allow more and more DC voltage through the amp into your speaker. The amplifier will see when that DC voltage reaches around 2 to 3 volts and starts death farting and restarting on you. That said, it only takes a couple hundred millivolts of DC voltage to do harm to your amplifier and your subwoofer long term. It's adding additional load to it, making it work harder than it really needs to. So we're going to plug this HomePod into power, let it boot up, and then we're going to wake it up in order to actually power that amplifier on. Just something to keep in mind when you boot up your HomePod from a cold boot, I should say. It's not going to turn the amplifier on until you actually do something with it the first time you plug it into power. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to plug it into power, let it boot up, and then we're going to wake it up in order to actually power on that amplifier, come out of that default low power standby mode, and we're going to listen for how loud of a pop it emits when that amplifier turns on. That's going to be a pretty big indicator as to how much DC offset the amplifier is currently experiencing as a result of those capacitors starting to give out. It's kind of the same thing as taking a 9-volt DC battery and plugging it straight into your speaker. You can hear the pop, that popping sound when I put the battery onto it, and you see the speaker move and it sits in a different position. So you can see it's giving it a constant load. It's producing those popping sounds. And so we can basically judge based on how loud of a pop it emits, how much DC offset we've got without actually opening it up. Let's do that, and I'm going to run to the restroom really quick, so you guys take a quick minute, grab a drink, take a break. We'll be right back. And we are back. Oh. So, we've given this plenty of time to boot up here. Obviously, we don't have any power issues. So let's wake up that amplifier inside, get power flowing, and listen for how loud of a pop it is. I'm also curious if the bass speaker even still works. So let's find out.
I'm having trouble connecting to...
Okay, so the bass speaker works really well still, but the amp must have turned on while I was taking a break there. So let's listen for the popping sound again after I unplug it from power here. Oh yeah, that's a loud pop, and that needs to get fixed. So let's crack it open, see what's going on from the inside. We're going to do some diagnostics after we get this amplifier out from the inside. See exactly how much DC offset this HomePod is experiencing, which will cause the death fart behavior. So we don't need to sit around and let the poor thing cook itself until it decides to death fart on us. We don't need to wait for that. If we see DC offset in excess of a few hundred millivolts when we got everything taken apart, then we don't need to wait and try to reproduce the issue. We know where it's coming from. Oof. There we go. Very nice. That came off real clean. Time for the prize. Oh no, this one's gonna fight, isn't it? Yeah. You bugger. Alright. Let's see what we got here. Yeah. Check that woofer since it's been under a bunch of load from that DC offset, but the voice coil looks good. Feels nice and smooth. It smells great. It smells like a happy subwoofer. Always sniff your subwoofers. See if they're happy or not. Don't ignore them. And now, ladies and gentlemen, oh, let's power this amplifier up without doing any repairs yet. I'm curious to see exactly how much DC offset this has. That'll tell us for sure that that's where the death farts are coming from, and give us a good idea of what we're aiming to fix here today. No! Get back on there, little guy. The cracks in my test display here are starting to really... that's okay. That's our part anyways. It doesn't matter. Let's power this up and see what we've got. Oof. 500 millivolts of offset, almost 600 just in a few seconds, and it continues to grow. So, this is going to continue to keep growing until around 2 to 3 volts DC and trigger those death farts. We're not going to hang around, of course, and subject this to the unnecessary torture. Let's get that fixed up. Here we go. So, one or multiple of these 4 capacitors like to give up on us. They like to allow that DC through, get amplified, and sent to the woofer. If it's not one of them, it's a few of them, and if it's only one of them now, it could very well be more than one later. So we get them all 4 replaced at once. It's also not very easy to test whether these are good or not. Typically, as they go bad in this fashion, they'll continue to measure a decent capacitance that's still within spec. But under load, they will fail. Booyah, all 4. Dropped one there, but we got all 4 of them off in one go. We didn't mess anything up there, did we? Looking dandy. Okay. Let's put some low melt solder on these pads. Make it a little easier to put those new capacitors on here. There we go. And then we'll zoom back in there. Let's grab ourselves some brand new capacitors. Oh boy. Didn't mix anything up in there, did we? Oh man. No, it looks like we are good. Okay, let's grab our new capacitors. Ooh, a little more flux on our board. Here we go. Beautiful. So that should do it for our excess DC voltage causing those death farts. We're gonna flip this board around, and for good measure, we're gonna replace that same power diode that we replaced on the other no power HomePods here. Just because, well, we've already got it apart. We've seen this diode fail enough times that it would just be a good idea to replace this with a brand new one that I just dropped. Oh, I'm just confirming the date code on here is new. 2146K, beautiful. And we've already got this one soldered up and ready to reinstall. So let's pull the old one off. There we go. Look at that sucker snap into place. Doing our work for us. Amazing. That's all this board should need. Yep. Very nice. Let's cool this off real fast. We don't want the excess heat causing our capacitors to not filter as well as they could, and throwing off our test results here. Oh, if you're curious exactly which parts that we use for not just this repair but any of our repairs, I suggest going to my website at the top left there, nixfix.com. Head over to the common issues section on there and find your issue. I've got steps on how we diagnose that, how we repair it, and any of the part numbers that you may need throughout those repairs. Also the specs of those parts, so if you want to find something or if you can't find the exact same part number that we use, you can find something else that uses the same spec. Alright, I think that is cool enough. Let's power this board up and see if it's got any DC offset still. Booyah. Powering up now. What do we got for offset? About 2 to 3 millivolts of DC offset now. A significant improvement from the previous results that we were seeing, and well within spec. So we've got new filtering capacitors on there to get rid of that offset, or that DC voltage, and we've got a new power diode on there, so they shouldn't experience that common failure of the diode there shorting out and causing no power issues. Let's get this thrown back together and we'll be all done for the day. So I have bought the capacitor. Should I buy the diode? Yes. If you feel comfortable and confident doing component board level repairs and you're already replacing the filtering capacitors, I would always suggest replacing the diode while you've already got it apart. That said, if this is for yourself and you don't mind having to take it apart again in the future to replace that diode, if it does fail, then I wouldn't worry about it for my own HomePods necessarily. Especially because every time we've seen it fail, it's only taken itself out. It has never caused issues or problems on any other components. So I would suggest doing it regardless, but if you're, if replacing the capacitors is already proving to be enough of a challenge for you, then you can If it's for yourself, you can, it would be totally fine to just put it off or just not replace it at all unless you do experience the problem in the future. You've done a few board repairs before? Yeah, I would just say you have already got it apart. It's only going to take you another minute or so to replace the diode. So just go ahead and do it. And the diode, usually you can get them for around $1 a piece. So to me, it's a worthwhile addition to your existing repairs if you've already got it apart. But every single one of the HomePods that get sent into us for repairs, we replace that diode regardless of the issues it has or how good or bad that diode looks. It gets replaced every time. We've seen that failure. We've seen that diode fail so often that we just go ahead and replace it. I'm gonna need a link to whatever screwdriver this is. It looks cool. Wow, this is our first stream actually using this bad boy. This is the third of 3 electric screwdrivers that Jim had sent to us. And this is the ES15 motion control. I think he got this off of Amazon. And of course it comes with standard size bits. It's got a T6 and a T5 in there for your HomePod work. You'll need to get something to magnetize the tip. Just keep that in mind. These ones are not magnetized very well, at least out of the box. But the nice thing with this one is you've got 5 different torque speeds, or 5 different torque settings I should say. And then to actually use it, by default it's set to automatic mode. So you push the activate button, and based on which direction you start turning and how much you turn dictates how fast and which direction the bit actually goes. And it goes pretty slow at the start, and you can crank it up, twist it the other way, and it starts spinning the other way. Full auto mode works really well once you get the hang of it, and this thing rips too. It really zips the screws in and out way faster than I could do with my iFixit screwdriver here. Hey, thanks for dropping in the chat and giving us a watch. Have a good one at work and stay safe out there. Alright, did that do good? Oh yeah. The nice thing about this is if, yeah, you can find out. You can just crack this. This screws apart, this screws apart, and this screws apart. And everything about this screwdriver comes apart and is appears to be pretty well repairable in the off chance you break it. But yep, there's your guts in there. Or some of them. I don't want to pull it apart too much and break it. And then this part comes out too. So you can, I'm not going to do it on this, of course, but it looks like you can take the screen out. This comes out. And that looks a little smaller than an 18650. It looks more like a AA. Looks more like the size of a AA. But the actual screwdriver body right here itself is like almost exactly the size of an 18650 as a whole. Go. And of course, my favorite feature, USB-C charging. It's got to have it. And it actually works while it's plugged into power too. So, another big bonus there. Should be coming soon. Next gen iPhones, supposedly. My fingers are crossed. Yeah, when's the last time you've seen, or how often do we really see USB-C ports on flagship phones really fail, though? I think the longevity, when you compare USB-C and Lightning side by side, yes. Lightning has a longer rated lifespan. But overall, the lifespan, regardless of USB-C, is going to be plenty sufficient, in my opinion. Also, Lightning is just horribly limited. Like it's old. It's an old standard, and it needs to be replaced. It's like people are like freaking out about switching to USB-C and their USB-C ports, prematurely failing, and it's like, it's not gonna happen in your lifetime. Not in your device's lifetime. It's still plenty good enough for the average user. Again, totally my opinion. I'm not like an expert in the USB cable industry or anything like that. Yeah, it takes so long for me to copy anything over my Lightning iOS devices. It's very painful. That's what they want you to think, and that's what they want you to feel. So that way they can just nix the ports and buttons entirely, and you just do everything wirelessly. Huh? I like the option. I like the convenience. Don't force me on it, though. Oh, dude, I've always said it. Wired is always better than wireless. Always will be. It does heavily depend on what your definition of better is, but overall, wired is still going to give you a more consistent, more reliable experience than anything wireless could. Just because of all of the uncontrollable interference that you're going to run into. Someone turns on the microwave and there goes your wireless charging. Or obviously no one right now has that specific problem, but like in the future, that some people imagine where their devices are wirelessly powered and charging from like multiple feet away from the charging pad. Someone turns on the microwave and suddenly half your shit stops working. Okay. The final pod, the final test. Let's give it a whirl. Make sure everything is put together properly. It sounds all right. Volume buttons light up nice and even. What do we got?
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
Very good.
I'm having
And very good. We got all 4 HomePods sent in fixed up today without a problem. And our electric screwdriver on the same charge has just dropped 1 bar, so we've got 3 out of 4 bars left in the battery indicator. So this would probably last for another 4 to 8 HomePods before needing to be charged up again. That's pretty good. Alright folks, if you have any questions about HomePod repairs or just repairing something in general, you're welcome to leave a comment below. Of course, I always first suggest that you check out the website at the top left there, nixfix.com. I've got a plethora of information under the common issues section for doing your own diagnostics and repairs on Apple HomePods, including the parts and specifications of those parts that we use to do these repairs. If instead you'd rather mail your HomePod in to be repaired here on the channel, I've got my contact info up there on the website as well. Hope you all enjoyed watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye!